Why work on culture and leadership? Simple question with a complicated answer, I think. Everything that we're a part of is part of a culture, and it can be a good culture or it can be a bad culture. And Human Synergistics says changing the world one organisation at a time, and I think to change culture is one leader at a time. So what is the type of culture you want to be in? So I've worked in organisations that have spent years building a fantastic culture. When I was in Pizza Hut, KFC and Taco Bell a couple of times, one of the things that they are exceptional about is consistent execution of their programs. It's the environment you want to work in. So you create the leaders that create the environment that people either want to work in or don't want to work in. The mistake many people do when they're working on culture is a scattergun and trying to do multiple things as opposed to saying, what's the systemic approach that I'm going to do? What are the levers I'm going to pull? What is a really clear, defined plan? And I think it's when you say, I'm just going to work on culture, but don't have a clear plan on that, it's just a lot of activity that doesn't actually give you a response. So we also then wanted to get all of our leadership teams, senior leadership teams in each of the countries, to also participate in the LSI. I've worked with Human Synergistics for about 15 years. I originally went and got myself accredited outside of any organisation because I was exposed to the LSI tool and it just had such a profound impact on myself that I wanted to then be able to share that and take it forward. We also then went out and accredited 26 HR practitioners across India, China, South Africa and Australia. I've worked with them with the GSI, the LSI, the MI. I haven't done the OCI, but it's next on my list. And I just find that it's such a deceptively simple tool and there's so many layers to it that often there's a saying, the teacher appears when the student is ready, and I find a lot of the human synergistic tools give you the answer when you're ready to hear the answer. So that we're starting to develop a language throughout the organisation. And I love the fact that it's called lifestyles inventory and not leadership inventory, because it actually affects your whole life. And it's affected me in my personal relationships, it's affected me in my work relationships, and it's having that understanding of self-awareness that at times you can feel yourself going beneath the line, but having that as a tool or something to bring yourself back to and go, okay, where was my thinking just then? And how was that affecting those around me? So it's personally had a massive impact on me. So I've worked with Ash Smith from the Human Synergistics team for a number of years now. One of the reasons I love working with Ash is when I come to Ash and say, hey, here's something I want to work with within the organisation, we come up with a bespoke solution. It's not, oh, well, here's something off the shelf, just go and implement it. It's really working and trying to understand what is it we're trying to achieve, what is it we're planning, what's the outcome, and then really coming up with a way of creatively coming up with solutions that actually have an impact. How to run an effective meeting, how to build trust, a leadership skill, or how to give feedback. I think it impacts performance at an individual basis, but then that layers up to a business outcome. And if I was to look at particularly our plants, our factories in Australia and New Zealand, the impact of improving the quality of leadership at all levels absolutely has correlated into performance outcomes, a higher engaged workforce, higher productivity, and people just enjoying themselves more. And there's an old saying, a man I used to work with at Nando's used to say, have fun while making money. And I think Human Synergistics can absolutely help you do that. They're impactful. They're great. My advice for someone thinking about working on culture and leadership is have a plan. What is it you want to do? Understand what your existing culture is. And you can do that through lots of tools, and you can use the human synergistic tools, but understand what's your baseline and then have a plan. And what are the 2 or 3 things you're going to work on religiously and in a systemic approach over a period of time. Do not try and think you're going to fix culture in 6 months, because you won't. It is a planned systemic approach.